Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. Pray. Pray.
Namaste, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Dr. Pillai's Religion of Religions YouTube channel and our Prayer is Power program, where today we get to experience huge karma removal on Sani Pradosham. It's a very, very powerful day today, and we're going to really dive into the practices of karma removal today as well. So Enlightened Master Dr. Pillai, whose picture you see on the screen, he's been extremely forthcoming with information about the arrival of the Golden Age, Satya Yuga. And as a fully enlightened being, he is the connecting force between the earth plane and the divine realms. And he shares his secrets, the secrets of the Siddhas, with us freely and always with so much love. He has also shared important information about astrological power times. And today being the 13th waxing moon, which is going to be starting, here in the west coast of the United States, it's going to be starting in about 11 minutes, I believe. So we're in a prime time right here. But this is called Pradosham, and it's a karma clearing power time. And because it's on a Saturday, it is called Sani Pradosham, as Saturday is a power time for the planet Saturn as well, the karma planet. So anyway, as overlord of Saturn, the overlord is Hanuman. So today we're going to be really experiential. We're going to chant to Lord Shani, Saturn. We'll connect with Lord Hanuman with a special mantra for the purpose of receiving his blessings and appeasing Saturn. And we'll also chant the mantra for karma removal while connecting to Lord Shiva. So we will begin by invoking the Holy Spirit in the form of Lord Ganesha. And as we chant, make a prayer to him to remove any obstacles in our hearts, minds, souls, and our environments to enable us to receive the blessings in full measure that will be poured upon us today. So we'll chant Ganesha's mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. We'll chant it 9 times to invite his presence and his blessings. So this is Donna from Pillai Center. My spiritual name is Ronnie, and we welcome all of you with love, especially those of you just joining us. And let's begin.
Ganapataye Namaha. Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gham 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 Ganapataye Namaha.
Lord Ganesha, we welcome you. Be with us in this gathering. Remove the obstacles that keep us from you, that keep us from receiving your blessings, and all the blessings from the divine beings that are with us now, in this moment, and throughout this program. In humble gratitude, we pray your name. Om Gam, Om Gam, Om Gam. So, today is a power day for karma removal. So, to provide more information about Sani Pradosham, this special day where Saturday, Saturn, 13th moon, karma, it's all connected. And we are extremely blessed to have with us again Pillai Center teacher and AstroVed astrologer Swamini Valli. So excited that you are with us today, Swamini. Go ahead and open up your camera. I'll stop my share, and welcome to our program.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining Ronnie's program today. Thank you, Ronnie, for having me as a guest on this particular presentation. So today is special because it's a 13th moon on a day when it's Saturday. Saturday, as you can even hear in the English name for the day, is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is a planet that has a lot to do with karma removal or activating some of our karmic lessons. Pradosham, I believe that Ronnie did a program for you earlier this month. Pradosham is a time of the day around about an hour and a half before sunset each day, is a time where there's kind of a window opening between the earth plane and the inner dimensions, where it's easier to get good effect if you're doing karma removal rituals or mantras during that Pradosham window. But when it's that hour and a half before sunset on a 13th moon day in your local area, that's an especially powerful time. They call that Pradosham, for that day. And then when it's Pradosham time during a 13th moon on a Saturday, that's an extra special day for having greater effect of results from your karma removal mantras or rituals. So today happens to be one of the few Saturdays this year when it is 13th moon, and it will be 13th moon active at the Pradosham time, that hour and a half before sunset in most of North America. In other parts of the world, that may be different. Your Sani Pradosham may be at other times of the year. But it's a special time, and so we wanted to talk a little bit today about Saturn. Saturn is sometimes called Sani, sometimes it's Shani with an H. Both of them are acceptable ways to call him. I do have a little statue of Saturn here that you can look at. And on the back side here is a crow, which is his bird. It's his vehicle. A black crow is what he's associated with. And Saturn is a wonderful planet. He's a planet, Dr. Pillai says Saturn is the planet that helps to mature the soul. So he's giving us more serious, lessons as he teaches us various things. He helps us with many things. He helps us with structure. Now, I myself have never gone to the temple and prayed for structure, but then during the COVID lockdown, I realized, oh, structure is actually very important. It's kind of a challenge when all the normal structures of your life are being disrupted. So Saturn is the planet that gives us that ability to have good structure in our life. He also is the planet that helps us with patience. He helps us to have a good work ethic. He helps us to have a sense of discipline. He helps us to have perseverance. He gives us the ability to put up with things that we can't change just yet, and he helps us to continue on when things sometimes are tough. He can help with longevity. He can give the blessing of a long life. And he can even raise people up to a very royal high status. Dr. Pillai says when Saturn wants to bless you, no other planet can interfere with that. And Saturn also helps with humility. And humility is a very important quality for us to be cultivating. One of my earlier teachers one night said, without humility, all spiritual progress stops. And I was shocked. I was like, what? A showstopper quality? I never heard that before. Why didn't I know that? And then during the years that we worked with that teacher, sometimes we would screw up and he would just come out and he would go, you guys forgot about purity and humility. And I'd be like, you're right. That's why we're in the mess we're in at the moment, is we forgot the importance of those two things. So Saturn can be a great teacher and a great friend. Now, it doesn't always feel comfortable if someone steps on our ego or if someone is like being disrespectful to us. But if we can take a step back and say, what is Saturn trying to show me here about my ego? And allow yourself to feel more comfortable with humility, it makes everything go easier. Now, Dr. Pillai says the ego is not who we really are. He says we really are beings of light. The ego is something that we created and we get attached to it, but it's not who we really are. So if we feel disrespected or we feel we're not getting the attention that we want to get, that's our ego that's acting up. And Saturn is the planet that helps us to have humility. So he's a great, great teacher, great, great friend. But he also has a role to play of activating some of our karmic lessons. We've done things either in the past in this life or in past lives where we did things perhaps out of ignorance or foolishness, maybe things we wouldn't even do today now that we know better, but we did them back then. And so it's sort of like the credit card bill comes around and we have to pay up for it. And so he'll activate those lessons. And sometimes he'll start with a gentle nudge. And if we get it, then he can move on and, activate something else. But if we resist the lesson, he takes his job very seriously. He's going to keep coming at us until we figure out, that we have to change and we have to make amends and we have to, become more humble or become more compassionate. But there's no resisting Saturn's influence when he's wanting to teach us something. There's a beautiful book called The Greatness of Saturn, a Therapeutic Myth by Robert Svoboda. And if you're having a Saturn period in your life in some way, that could be a good book to read to help you appreciate how persistent Saturn is in teaching a lesson to people in the story. Would be a recommendation for you. Now, Mangala Shani is a form of Saturn that I learned about on one of the trips I had to India. Mangala means auspicious. I don't want you to feel afraid of Saturn. There is a very, very positive side of Saturn. Again, I said Saturn Dr. Pillai says Saturn can lift you up. And when George W. Bush became president, he was very surprised by that because even in Bush's family, the parents seemed to think that it was going to be the other brother, Jeb Bush, that would become the president. And it said it was George that actually won the election. And so Dr. Pillai looked at his chart because he was curious about it. And he said, oh, it was the Saturn influence that raised him up. So even though earlier in life, he had been like the owner of a baseball team. He had been able to become president because he was in a influence of Saturn, and Saturn is the one that had raised him up. Now, a lot of people can have be afraid of Saturn. Dr. Pillai has taken us several times in India to a very large temple that's in Tamil Nadu for Saturn, and there's a tank there, and they pour water over you for karma removal. But on one of the other trips, a later trip, he took us to a very small temple and said we were going to a Saturn temple today, a different one. And when we pulled up to the temple, I was really surprised because the priest that came out to greet us was a very happy guy. And usually the priest will take on some of the qualities of the archetype that they're serving. Like you go to the Mars temple and they're kind of buff and hunky, they're serving Mars. And this guy came out and he's serving Saturn and he's so happy. And I thought, maybe we're going to a goddess temple first. Until I went in and saw the sanctuary. And in the sanctuary, it was Saturn with his 2 wives and his 2 children. And I was like, oh my gosh, Saturn as family man? Who knew there was this side to him? And I could even have the thought, oh, I could picture one of the kids like jumping up on daddy's lap and making him laugh. And I'm like, oh, wow, I've never had the thought of Saturn laughing about anything before. So the energy in the temple was very, very happy. And I had a chance to go back to it later and talk to the priest one-on-one, and he had very good English. So I was able to express my surprise to him. And he goes, oh, yes, this is the Mangala Shani, the auspicious Saturn. This is the Saturn who dissolves sorrow. And someone on the trip took a picture of the sanctuary. I never take a camera into a temple. I don't take pictures in a temple. But someone took the picture, and after the trip, they emailed it to me. And this was a few years ago, so the quality of the picture is not as wonderful as the cameras that people have on their phones now. But you can see Saturn with his 2 wives and his 2 children. This is a very positive side of Saturn. This is the Saturn who dissolves sorrow. This is the auspicious Saturn. And when it showed up in my email box, I thought, okay, I didn't take the picture. I didn't ask for the picture, but I have the picture. I must share this with my astrology clients who are dealing with Saturn in some way, so that they can print that out and have that be the aspect of Saturn that they're focusing on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this non-scary side of Saturn, this family man side of him, and to encourage you to connect with Saturn in a personal way, to connect with this positive side of him, Mangala Shani, the auspicious Saturn who dissolves sorrow. So I believe that Ronnie was going to introduce you to a chant for Saturn. So I will pause for a moment and let her do that right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamini Valli. That's such great information. And don't we all feel closer to Saturn already? So yeah, now to invoke the blessings of this auspicious Lord Shani, we will chant his mantra 9 times, followed by a short meditation. We'll chant Om Mangalaya Shani Namaha. The words will be on the screen. Chant aloud if you can, otherwise silently is fine too. Let's chant. Om Mangalaya Shani Namaha. 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 Now, make a prayer to Lord Saturn. Lord Shani, please bless us. Grant us structure in our lives. Give us patience. Give us a strong work ethic. Give us discipline that we may remain steadfast in our devotion. Give us perseverance. Give us longevity. And above all, grant us humility, that we may receive your blessings by being of service to the divine, in service to all. Slowly and gently, you can come back to yourself. Thank you, Lord Shani, for the blessings. So now we're going to invite Swamini Valli back to share with us the connection between Saturn and Lord Hanuman. So welcome back, Swamini Valli.
Thank you. Thank you. That was beautiful. So each of the planets has an archetype that's considered to be their overlord or their boss. And sometimes if we're having a challenge with a planet, we sometimes make prayers directly to their archetype to help asking them to control any of the negative challenges that the planet might be activating for us. The ruler of Saturn is Lord Hanuman, and I have him here in a tiny little form, and then I also have him here in a larger form. And if you're familiar with the great epic story of the Ramayana, in that story, Hanuman makes his form very small at one point. He makes it very large at another point. He has the ability to do impossible things. And he is the archetype who helps to control Saturn. Excuse me. In the Ramayana, there's many stories about Hanuman doing miraculous things. This in his hand is the top of a mountain. At one point in the story, there was a battle, and one of Rama's warriors was injured, and they needed to have a special healing herb to help him. And Hanuman, who can fly, offered to fly off to the distant mountain to get this special herb. But when he got to the mountain, he couldn't remember which herb he was supposed to get. So he just took the whole upper part of the mountain and flew back with it and placed that into the meadow where the wounded person was, so that they could pick it, from the whole top half of the mountain. So that's like how amazing he can be. So he is the planet that controls Saturn. Saturn, when even Shiva was in a Saturn period called Sade Sate, a 7.5-year period of influence from Saturn. The story goes that when Shiva was going through that period, he turned himself into a rat, and he lived in a gutter, so that way Saturn wouldn't be able to interfere with him. And at the end of the period, he was like, okay, I got through that okay. And Saturn looks at him and goes, are you kidding me? You were living like a rat in a gutter. I would say there was some influence on you. But when it came around for Hanuman to go through his Sade Sate, what he did was he talked to Saturn and he said, could we start it tomorrow? And he was able to just like push it off for the whole period that way. So he has that power to control Saturn in a very unique way. So on Saturday, Pradosham Day, we also honor Hanuman, and we ask Hanuman to help control any of the challenging karmas that Saturn might be activating for us, and to help us to be more aligned with the positive side of Saturn. Now, Saturn is very, very happy when we do compassionate things, when we do acts of charity, when we help people, random acts of kindness. So always on a Saturday, those are good days to help the elderly. It could even be the elderly in your own family. Do something, help feed a hungry person. The more that we move in the compassionate direction, the more that we are becoming of service to other people, then the happier Saturn is with us. And so Hanuman can help us move in that direction as well. But Hanuman can do this thing of helping to control Saturn for us if we have some especially difficult karmic lessons that are coming up for us. So Ronnie, I believe, is going to introduce you now to a chant for Hanuman that we can do together today.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. So yeah, our chant today will be Reeng, Hreeng, Markata, Markadaya, Swaha. These divine syllables invoke Lord Hanuman, who is also an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and they invoke him as the auspicious one to come and do miracles in our lives. So if you're brand new to this chant, listen to the sounds, listen to the pronunciation as Dr. Pillai chants, and then when you're ready, you can jump in and chant aloud. And if you can't chant aloud, that's fine. Just let the sacred syllables fill your body, mind, and soul. Let's chant.
Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya 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 Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya 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 Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markadaya Swaha. Reeng, Hreeng, Markataya 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 Swaha.
Thank you, Ronnie, for that beautiful mantra and the way that you arranged for that to be presented to us.
You are very welcome. And we are now going to merge into talking about Lord Shiva. So this is going to be just to complete us full circle here. As you all know, Lord Shiva is the divine being who can help remove our bad karma. You know, he gets rid of that which no longer serves us. He's the destroyer. So, yeah, to talk more about Lord Shiva and the connection to Hanuman and Pradosham and all that good stuff, welcome back, Swamini Valli.
Okay. So many of you already know that often on a Pradosham 13th moon time, some people are going to take a lingam. This represents Shiva. And they're going to pour water over it, pour milk over it, as a way of something to do while they're chanting karma removal mantra. So this is representing Shiva here. And as Ronnie said, Hanuman is often considered a form of Shiva. And the connection between Shiva, Hanuman, Saturn, karma removal, when it's a 13th moon day on a Saturday, when it's 13th moon at that hour and a half before sunset time, it amplifies all of the potential for all of these beings to be helping us with removing bad karma. So, and Dr. Pillai continues to do Pradosham rituals himself. His focus is removing bad karma for the whole world when he's doing them. So we can be praying for ourselves, and then we can also be expanding those prayers, asking for bad karma for all the people in the world to be getting removed during this Pradosham time on a Saturday. So it's, you know, not to be praying just for yourself, but you can be praying for your families, your friends, for the world when you're doing this ritual after you've gotten comfortable with doing them. There's a special chant that Ronnie will be helping us do. The Thiruneelakantam chant is especially strong for karma removal. This is invoking the blue throat area of Shiva. There's a story that in one of the cycles of time, there was a churning of a milky ocean, and out of this milky ocean, there was going to be the Amrita, the nectar of immortality, and other mystical and magical things came out of this ocean while they were churning it. But the rope that they were using for the churning was actually a snake, a very important snake. And he got really tired while they were doing this churning, and he actually started to vomit. And being a snake, his vomit was going to be poisonous and was going to spoil the whole mystical thing that was happening with the Milky Ocean, and it would spoil the nectar, etc. So Shiva scooped down to take that poison into his own mouth to swallow it. And his wife Parvati was like alarmed when she saw that Shiva was going to swallow the poison, and she grabbed him at the throat to control it, and it turned his throat blue. And so when we are doing the Thiruneelakantam chant, we're invoking this blue-throated form of Shiva, who is able to control the poisons, control the negativities, and has such great compassion that he would take this even on himself. So this is the karma removal chant that Dr. Pillai has given to us. In addition to doing things like pouring milk over a lingam, Dr. Pillai has also taught us, excuse me, to use perhaps a lemon or a lime for doing karma removal. This can be done every day. And take a lemon or a lime, and then you roll it over your head. It's touching your head, your forehead, your face, your neck. He says we hold a lot of our past life karma in our throat. So you definitely want to roll it around your throat, back of your head, all the way up, all the areas of the brain. Your shoulders, he says we carry a lot of our financial bad karma in our shoulders. So, we feel burdened with it. So you roll it there, and then you roll it in your heart area, because that's where we carry some of our relationship karma. And then you can roll it on any body part you have that might be in pain or hurting. You could roll it there as well. And what it's doing is it's sucking the negative energy out of you when you do this as you're chanting the karma removal mantra. A lot of people like to do this, especially on a 13th moon day during that hour and a half time before sunset, when the doorway is more open. So then after you've done the chanting, you can cut it and then throw it in the trash and wash off your hands, wash off the knife. The first time that Dr. Pillai taught us this, I was a bit skeptical. I was like, really? I'm going to roll a lemon around my head? I mean, my logical mind just really couldn't understand it. But I went ahead and I started experimenting with it. And then at one point, there was a time where my hip was a little bit sore and I was kind of limping. And I was living at the time with a boyfriend, and he noticed I was limping, and I had taken a shower. And after I came out of the shower, he had me lay down on the bed, and I hadn't put my clothes on yet. And he took the lemon, and we were both chanting as he was rolling it around me, and he especially rolled it in that hip area. And what he told me later was that he could see negative black energy coming out of my hip, and it was like getting vacuumed into the lemon, and the lemon was holding it there like it wanted to escape, and the lemon could trap it there. So there's something about that citric acid in the lemon or the lime that helps trap that negative energy. And then when I got up, I didn't have the limp anymore. My leg felt fine, my hip felt fine. So that helped me be a little bit more of a definite believer in the power of these lemons and limes and the chanting, because it firsthand experience like that. So this is something that we can recommend to you to do on any 13th moon, but especially on a 13th moon that falls on a Saturday, where there's this extra energy available for you for scouring away more negative karma, either from this life or from some of your past lives as well. So I believe Ronnie has put a link to a video that gives more information about the lime or the lemon rolling if you want to see someone doing it and understand how that works. And now she's going to share with us the Thiruneelakantam chant and take us through several repetitions of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the link for the lime rolling tutorial is in the description area underneath the video box here, so you can open that up. You'll also see the chants that we are doing today, SoundCloud audios that you can download and have them playing in your home, especially during that power time of the 13th moon, Pradosham every day. You can have that playing in your home, the Thiruneelakantam. So yeah, we're going to chant that right now. And as Swamini directed us, when you chant, you can focus on your throat, where much of that bad karma is lodged. You can even gently touch your throat to stay focused in that area while you chant. So we'll chant, and then after that, we'll have a short meditation. Let's chant now.
Thiruneelakantam, 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 Thiruneelakantam,
Now, close your eyes. Lord Shiva, absolve us of all sins and liberate us from the cycle of birth and death. Grant us a boon today to bring about positive changes in our lives. Remove our bad karma on this power day. Shri Lord Hanuman, give us inner strength to remain steadfast on our path to spiritual enlightenment. Strength to overcome any inner challenges on our spiritual journey. Grant us purity of heart. Remove any negativity in our hearts and minds. Negativity that keeps us from experiencing abundance in our lives. An abundance of wealth, abundance of loving relationships in life, and an abundance of loving devotion to the Blessed Lord. In humble gratitude, we call upon you today to come and create miracles in our lives. Protect us from our enemies. Protect us from our inner demons. We lay at your feet our weaknesses, fears, doubts. You are strong enough to carry any burden, and we lay it all at your feet. Now, make a prayer. Ask for whatever it is that you're needing today. May we feel your presence, and may you remain in our bodies, our hearts, our minds, and our souls forever. Now, make a final prayer, a prayer of gratitude for the blessings that we have received today and will continue to receive as we go forth. Slowly and gently, you can begin to come back to yourself now. If you wish to continue to meditate, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can end the meditation. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be closing our program in just a couple minutes. Please post in the chat any experiences you may have had today if you'd like to share. This was a very powerful day and continues to be. So feel free to click the like button if you enjoyed today's program, and you can also subscribe if you haven't done that as well, as there will be other programs happening, and when you subscribe you can click the bell, and then you'll be notified of those programs when they happen. And also the links to the downloadable audios of the chants that we did today are in the description area. So you can, download those, as I said. I was just looking at the chat for just a moment, and Swamini Valli was saying that you can, use the lime or the lemon rolling anytime, and she usually does it after her shower in the morning, and someone had posted, so I shower first and then do the lime. And yeah, you can do that, but it made me think that, whenever you shower, you can chant Thiruneelakantam. There's, you look at any of the history of the yogis and the siddhas in India, and they are constantly going into the river to bathe. And that is because they take on the karma of people. So, yeah, let me just, I'm going to call Swamini Valli back in just a moment, but I wanted to point out some things and put some other links in the chat that you'll definitely want to grab onto. First of all, here is the AstroVed.com link. You'll definitely, if you haven't been introduced to AstroVed.com, you really got to do it, because this will tell you exactly, you sign up, it's a free account, and you can put in your information, and it'll tell you exactly when these power times are in your area. So it's very, very important, and it's really, really good, and a wonderful tool. And they're always doing new stuff on AstroVed as well. Virtual things, and yeah, it's really fun. Okay, also in chat is the book that Swamini Valli recommended earlier, The Greatness of Saturn by Robert Svoboda, and that is available in paperback on Amazon, so you can check that out. And, tonight, or at least here in the West, and it would be tomorrow for other guys here, will be a community fire lab with Swamini Valli on Saturn and Hanuman. So that would happen at 7:30 Pacific time tonight, and then for those of you in UTC time zone, it would be 2:30 in the morning and 8 a.m. IST. Okay, so let me put that link in chat as well. And Swamini Valli, did you want to comment? I can stop my share here, and you can comment on that, and any other closing thoughts that you might have would be great.
Oh, you're all definitely invited to the Community Fire Lab. This is free, of course. It's on the Pillai Center Practice channel. I'm doing, once a month, I do a Community Fire Lab, and for this month, when I saw that it was going to be Pradosham on a Saturday, I thought, well, let's do it for Saturn and for Hanuman tonight. We'll be honoring them in this fire lab. So you're welcome to come to that, of course. The Greatness of Saturn is a wonderful book if you haven't read it yet. It has chapters in there about all of the planets. It's from an ancient epic, and the backdrop for the story is that there's a king, and he's has many astrologers, and in the olden days they didn't have the computers yet for running the charts. And the chart of the king, you would have to look at that for answering questions about the country, like, when should we do the crops? Should we go to war? They would be looking at the chart of the king. And there's a lot of math involved to create a chart. When I was in India, Dr. Pillai had me take a KP astrology class. And that teacher required that in the beginning we would be doing the charts by hand. And I went home that night, sat on my bed in the ashram, and I just cried over how much math I was going to have to do. But when I read this story, I was like, okay, I understand why he would have a lot of astrologers at court, because they would all have to be running charts by hand, to answer different questions for the king. So one night the king has got all his astrologers there, and he throws the question out to them, which planet is the greatest planet? And one guy steps forward, oh, sire, I say it is the sun. And then you have a whole chapter about the sun and how you get done with that and you go, yeah, the sun is really cool, all the qualities and the stories. And each planet has a champion that steps forward and talks about them. But then the one that says, oh, sire, I say it is Saturn, that chapter will be very intense, because in that chapter, it's a story about an even earlier king. And that king had been very bad, and Saturn was going to have to punish him. And so Saturn did some things to him that were pretty harsh. And you turn the page, and the bad king has still not, repented. So then Saturn hits him even harder. And this goes on for several pages, to the point where you go, it just can't get any worse for this guy. And you turn the page and like, oh my God, it just got really, really worse for this guy. And so you get a very visceral respect for the power of Saturn. Eventually, the guy does repent, and then Saturn restores to him everything that he's taken away. But it makes an impression on you. Babaji says the stories in this book, they talk past your rational mind. They talk to a deeper level of your being. Your being understands the energies of these planets through this story. And the chapter on Saturn is very intense. Now, I've lent this book to many, many people. And one person, when he returned it, he said to me, I really like Saturn. I was like, really? You're the first person that's returned the book that had that comment to make about Saturn. Why do you like Saturn so much? And he said, because he's fair. He's not putting you through it for no reason. And that's true. We create the karma that he's having to make us learn lessons about. But I thought that was a very interesting response. He's fair. He's not being malicious when he's applying lessons to us. So I just wanted to add a little bit of that. I hope many of you are able to make the Fire Lab tonight. I want to thank Ronnie for having me on her program, and I want to give her just a big shout out of how much we love her for all the dedication and the artistry and the sincerity that she brings to all of the work that she does for us. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Swamini Valli. Yeah, this has been just a really, really great program, and I love learning about Saturn, and it made me think of a personal story. Back when I was a child, my mother took us to swimming lessons every year. Okay, every year. And by the time I was maybe about 12, 13, I started to learn, because this was from the Red Cross, so I started to learn life-saving techniques. Okay, so we were practicing in the pool, and okay, I'm the rescuer, so I'm swimming towards, and the person who's drowning grabs me around the neck, and I go down.
Oh, wow.
And I come up, and I'm coughing and spitting, and and the teacher, who was just the best, she said, "What did you do wrong?" I said, I don't know. She says, try it again. Same thing happened. Down I go, glug, glug. So, and I said, I don't know. So then she says, okay, so-and-so, you be the drowning person now. And so was a lot bigger than I was. And so I came swimming towards her, and she grabbed me around the neck, and I went down. And I came up coughing and spitting, and she said, what did you do wrong? I didn't duck my chin. That's the first thing you do when you're heading towards somebody who is drowning, because they're going to grab you around the neck, and yep, there you go, glug, glug, glug. But, I think of this because this is a lesson. How many times have I gone down, glug, 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 until something even worse happened? Oh, yeah, I didn't duck my chin. But I mean, it's a goofy story, but it really has. I've applied it to so many different situations in my life as I've gone through. It's like, yeah, I went down for the count one more time because I didn't listen to the other 2 times. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. So yeah, okay. So here's what we got going on. One more thing tomorrow, really, really important, is a free webinar with Dr. Pillai. Okay, he has recently revealed a new configuration of Shrimbrzi. It is now Cleanbrzi is what he is promoting, and he's going to do a webinar about it tomorrow. It's a free webinar, 9 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. UTC, and 9:30 p.m. IST. And he has said Cleanbrzi is associated with more activity than Shrimbrzi. Cleanbrzi has one intention, which is very, very focused, and that is to make your mind and the brain work more pointedly, more quickly. So this is going to be a very, very cool webinar. You're going to learn a lot about it. You're going to hear the new chant, and it's going to be really wonderful. So the link is in the chat area there too. So yeah, next week will be our final Prayer is Power program. You know, this revival series was only supposed to go for a short time, but we ended up going almost 3 years every Saturday. And it has just been a wonderful experience for me and an honor to host this every week. So one more next week, and next week we will celebrate Passover, and Swamini Valli will be back with us again to perform the hydration ritual and baptism for us. And by the way, she will continue to do the hydration ritual for you guys monthly as on a Religion of Religions channel, along with other great programs. You know, there's going to be other teachers involved, so you'll really be enjoying the programming. So we thank you so much. Thank you, Nana, for taking care of us in chat. You're always so loving and so wonderful. So we appreciate you. And of course, Swamini Valli, for all of your information and your love and just the fantastic way that you teach us. It's excellent.
Well, namaste, everyone. The light in me truly honors the light in all of you. May light encompass all.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. And of course, we thank our beloved Dr. Pillai for all of the knowledge, the grace, and the love that he continually showers upon us. Thank you to Lord Ganesha, Lord Shiva, Lord Hanuman, and Lord Shani for all of the blessings. And thank you all for joining today. God bless you. We love you, and we will see you soon. Namaste.
Thiruneelakantam, 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 Thiruneelakantam.